Okay, so I love filming that kind of aesthetic intro stuff, but now that it's over and I'm editing it, I'm like, why am I snogging that rose, or at least why am I like nose booping it? Right, anyways, into the video. And here I'm doing what I thought was a pretty cool intro shot using these magic fabric pens which disappear when heat is applied to them. They are quite amazing, but I got them from Amazon and I'm not going to link them below because I'm not sure Jeff Bezos or Bezos needs more money. And yes, I'm very hypocritical for buying them. So today's voiceover is going to be a little bit more interesting because for my last voiceover I was recording at my boyfriend's mum's house and she was downstairs in the lounge watching Gardener's World with Monty Don, and I was upstairs recording my video and I didn't want her to think I was too crazy. Step 1 in making our 1890s bridal corset mock-up is to iron your fabric. Usually corsets should be made from cotton coutil or a thicker cotton canvassing material, but for my mock-up I'm using some cotton curtain lining, which is thick with just one C, not thick with multiple K. Once your fabric is ironed out as flat as the fens, you can then begin tracing your pattern pieces onto it using your magic pen, except not that because you haven't been able to buy it since I haven't linked it below. So instead use some chalk or some such substance, but don't misuse it. This is a costume channel, remember. When mentally preparing to make a corset, you need to understand that the aim is not in any way to enjoy the process of sewing, but to half kill yourself with the boredom during the process. As such, when cutting out your fabric pieces, do not save time by folding the fabric over and cutting a mirror image piece that way, but lay each pattern piece out individually so that you know exactly where the grain line of the fabric is. Because my 1890s corset pattern didn't actually include a seam allowance, I then had to go and add that to all of my pattern pieces. I went by Mandy Barrington's suggestions in Stays and Corsets, which is to use a 2.5cm seam allowance on all of the seams except the centre front and back, in which you will use a 5cm seam allowance, which actually turned out to be rather large, but no matter, that's why it's called a mock-up. Snip, 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 snip. Snip, 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 snip. Okay, so once you have cut out all of your pieces and randomly put them on a table, the next thing to do is basting. Now, basting is not within one of my 10 most favourite things to do, as you can see here. Oh wait, no, that's my childhood photo album. Whoops, wrong thing, but I seem to be carrying on anyway. That's a photo I entered for a photography competition in Pony Mag, where you had to put out your toy ponies and make them look aesthetic. Yeah, the rose petals I simply just strewed along the floor. Anyway, yes, here is my actual favourite things to do list. Not seeing basting on there though. Oh, baptism. Yep, out of luck there. So, because of this basting business, I was getting dangerously close to the entire aim of making a corset, which, to remind you, is to half kill yourself with boredom. So, to prevent imminent death, I enlisted my sister to help me. She completed 2 pieces and I did the rest. Are you having fun doing my sewing? My nails look gross. Right, so now that we are a good, 4.5 minutes into the video, I seem to have decided that now is a good time to show you guys the equipment that you'll be needing to make this corset. So you'll cut out pattern pieces, yes, that would be a good way to start. Some fabric scissors. Sorry if you didn't know that you had to use those to cut out the fabric, and I hope your teeth are okay. Yep, so these things are for creating your boning channels, basically the little pockets of fabric which the boning goes into. They're called loop pressing bars and I bought them, and most of the stuff in this video after watching Ariana Black's 12-part series on how to make a corset, which I found very, very useful. So your ruler, more fabric, and a piece of paper, which I've forgotten what on earth that had on it. Your bones, I use straight steel boning for the centre back bones, and then spiral steel boning for the rest for flexibility. Next, I had a go at making a boning channel. You need to know how thick and long your boning is, and then use a loop pressing bar closest in width to your boning. My boning was quite petite in size, just 0.7 centimeters, so I used the second to smallest pressing bar. You basically want to make a little blanket in which you will suffocate your pressing bar in by sewing him into it. I found it easiest to use an edge stitching foot to get super close to the bar with, because you will need to sew him in as tight as possible. No chance of escape that way. Once you've sewed all along the length, open up the seam allowances and iron them open with the pressing bar still inside. Then, once he has been almost bent entirely, remove the pressing bar and snip very closely along that pressed open seam, and then press again until your boning channel is super crispy. That will finish it off nicely. Before making all of your boning channels, you should first do a little mock-up like I've done here, just to check the bone can definitely fit into the boning channel. Once you've checked that, you can whiz up as many boning channels as you need. Once you've made all of your bony boys, your fabric sheaths. Okay, I'll stop. Giant sock. Next, sew your corset pieces together with the right sides together so that the seam allowances are poking out on the right side of the corset. For this construction, we are doing an external boning channels with just one layer of fabric. Sorry, I probably should have mentioned that talia earlier. Now, heartbreakingly, you've got to unpick all of those side seams basting lines, which was extra heartbreaking for me because I then realised that my sister, I actually needn't have done all of that basting work because I in fact had my fancy heat erasable pen, but it will be alright for you guys, obviously. Iron the seams open and admire your handiwork. Looks good. Now it's time to insert your waist tape, known to boost the support of your corset fabric, moral or otherwise. And, oh look, more basting, joy of joys. Does anyone else find the sound of hand sewing like kind of ASMR-y? I love watching ASMR, and my favourite ASMRists are Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson. Now for the most fiddly part of the construction process, attaching those pesky boning channels from earlier onto your corset. You want to catch just the edge of the channel when sewing so that there is plenty of room in there for the bone itself. Now for the busk insertion. The busk is this weapony looking metal object which encloses the centre front, but this is where it all went wrong. See what I'm doing here? Yeah, don't do that. I sewed it in upside down. See, dear viewer, this is why we do mock-ups. For the busk, you will need to use an awl to create these little holes in your fabric. I personally found that either the claw or the beak were sharpest for this. Not that kind of owl. Then sew that busk in on each side, obviously making sure that both sides line up. Use your ruler and mathematical abilities for this part. And here's where it's actually started looking like a real corset. Woo! All of those hours of basting had come to something after all. So now you've got to actually insert your bones, but first you want to resize them to fit exactly inside your corset. For this there are probably specialist tools, but I didn't have those. And as I have told many an interviewer, one of my strengths is solving problems in a creative way, or getting someone else to solve them. So in this clip we see my dad pretending to cut this wire even though he had actually already cut it. Movie magic is real, people. Filing. Gosh golly, I hate paperwork. After that, you will need to buy or make some bias binding tape. Gosh, what long fingers I have. Shame I haven't made use of those on the piano. Nope. You'll want to attach the bias to one top edge of your corset and then insert your file down and cut to size bones. Finish those edges off by hand. Oh my gosh, we are so nearly finished. Just to bear in mind, this took me around a week to make, working on this corset from 9 AM till 9 PM to finish it, but of course, this was my first major project for a while, and next time I will for sure be snappier. Now add in your eyelets. I added in 17 on each side of the corset and even bought a special hole making eyelet tool thing, which I didn't know how to use, so didn't end up using. To get the position right, use your magic pen and circular eyelets to draw 17 perfectly round eyeball shapes and then put a dot in the middle for the eyeball. I'm assuming this is why they're called eyelets, their resemblance to eyes. Time to go capture your owl again to stab more holes into your fabric. Oh, you let the owl go free because you wanted to avoid gathering attention around your owl farm in Oklahoma and be henceforth known as the Owl King. Okay, fair enough. You can just use this tool called an owl then instead. Or better yet, just stab a blunt pencil through, as I seem to be doing. Now that you've made some very neat holes in your fabric, use this nameless blue tool to hammer your eyelets into place. When using heavy tools, safety precautions should be your biggest priority, so make sure to sanitize your hands. Rona is still going around, you know. Hammer, hammer, hammer. Bob the Builder who? Wow. Holes 2 coming to a cinema near you. Time for lacing the eyelets. Do you like how well I matched the colour of the corset to the corset ties? Yeah, me too. With this, you basically just want to keep going under and over each time until you get to the waist, where you can make a dog ear on each side, where you can tighten the waist section even more. At this point, you will have basically finished your corset. I'm not going to show you it again because I already gave away all of my cards at the beginning and now I have none left. So, to reward yourself, go on a British holiday seaside trip with your boyf and friends. Prove that lockdown gain loss is not a real thing. Go shell picking and pick out an obscene amount. Nah, I don't want you. Bye, little buddy. Fly. Then go to an antique shop and buy an iridescent flower pot to further reward yourself. Ooh, wonder at that rainbow-like sheen. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please go follow me on over Instagram, like this video, comment, do whatever you want, and stay subscribed for my next one. Thank you.